on March 6th.
My name is Frankenstein.
Academy Award nominee Jessie Buckley.
What did you want with a dead girl?
And Academy Award winner Christian Bale.
I'm the same, born from the dead. I want the same thing everyone else wants.
My bride.
The Bride. Rated R. Only in theaters March 6th. Under 17 animated without parent.
Well, the holidays have come and gone once again, but if you've forgotten to get that special someone in your life a gift, well, Mint Mobile is extending their holiday offer of half off unlimited wireless. So here's the idea. You get it now, you call it an early present for next year. What do you have to lose? Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Limited time 50% off regular price for new customers. Upfront payment required. $45 for 3 months, $90 for 6 months, or $180 for 12-month plan. Taxes and fees extra. Speeds may slow after 50 gigabytes per month when network is busy. See terms.
Meeting new people just got way more fun because now you don't have to do it alone. With Tinder's new Double Date feature, you and your bestie can match together. Tap the Double Date icon to see profiles built for two. When two pairs match, the group chat kicks off. Scope the profiles, send memes, keep the chat fun. Hype each other up, flirt a little, maybe plan a hang. It's always better when you're in it together. Try the new Tinder Double Date. Explore all the possibilities. Tinder, it starts with a swipe. Download Tinder today.
You can support this podcast at patreon.com/partnersincrimemedia.
I'm Rebecca Lavoie, and this is Crime Writers On. Crime Writers On is the original true crime review podcast that digs into true crime, pop culture, other podcasts. And on this episode, doctors looking into the deaths of babies on the neonatal ward find a connection to all the cases. The same nurse. We'll review the Investigation of Lucy Letby from Netflix. Joining me to get that done and more is true crime author, TV journalist, and host of These Are Their Stories podcast, my husband and the love of my life, Kevin Flynn. Hello, Kevin.
Hello, Rebecca.
Also with us, private investigator, certified pet detective, resident cat lady, and author of The Final Curtain, Laura Bricker. Hi, Laura.
Hey, Rebecca.
And finally, it is our captain of all things cynical, author of the City Trilogy, host of Rip Current, More Like Ancient Phalians, Strange Arrivals, and our Patreon Deep Dive Book Club podcast, Toby Ball. Hola, Nano.
Buenas, Rebecca.
So, Kevin, this is Monday's program.
It is.
What's coming up on Thursday's show?
Yeah, on Thursday, we're going to talk about the podcast from 30 for 30 podcast from ESPN. It's called Murder at the U.
Looking forward to that conversation.
And the sequel, Murder at the Y.
Oh, okay.
No, that's...
Murder on the L?
Murder on the L. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
We got a whole series
Murder
going.
Murder on the T?
Murder on the T, set in Boston.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. There you go, ESPN. You get that one for free.
All right. So, Toby, I understand that you have some neighbors downstairs that you love. What's going on?
Yeah, the neighbors were on the second floor, which means the third floor. And the neighbors right below us have two dogs that fucking yap all day long. All day.
Are they big dogs that bark or little dogs that yap?
They're little dogs. I finally saw them for the first time yesterday. The woman who owns them was getting out of the elevator with them, and I was getting into the elevator. And I realized those are the two little dogs that take little dumps right outside the front door to our building. And she doesn't do anything about them. And then people step in it, and it's just smeared all over everywhere. It's really, it's a catastrophe. It's really,
it's a catastrophe.
It's really quite something. But so anyway, you can't hear them as much in this room, or thankfully in our bedroom. But in the living room, it's basically like they're in there with us. It's pretty wild.
You need to double down on Duolingo so then you can know how to yell at her.
Yes.
Yeah.
And complain.
Yeah, I can tell her that her dogs are not elegant.
No.
How would you say that?
Yo perro no es elegante.
I think that was a singular dog. I think you have to make it plural.
Your dog.
Right?
Yeah. Yo perros.
Yes.
There you go.
But listen to Toby rolling.
Don't listen too carefully.
When we first moved here, we weren't quite familiar with what our dog sounded like when we weren't home. And we used to have this screen porch, which is now an enclosed room, but it was a screen porch. So sometimes during the day in the summer, we would just leave them on the screen porch and we're like, hey, they'll hang out in like their favorite spot in the house. And then we got this note from one of our neighbors one day. The cops came, remember?
Yeah.
And it was like, your dogs bark all day. And I'm like, that can't possibly be true. So I asked our next door neighbor, Sarah, who we love. I was like, Sarah, do my dogs bark? She goes, they do tend to have opinions during the day. And I was so deeply embarrassed because I didn't know because I wasn't home, right? Like I know when they bark when I'm here. They bark when the mailman comes and when the cleaning people come or whatever. But like they don't literally bark all day. And I was mad at those people for calling the cops. And later I was just like, oh, I guess it was us.
It was us.
And thus ended the leaving them out in the screen porch.
That's true.
Well, this is why you get cats.
Yes, that's why you get
Although
cats.
when we go to bed, our cats, so they've never had, one of our cats was an outdoor cat too. But for one of the cats, it's never had a runway as long as this long hallway that goes down our apartment.
Yeah.
And so as soon as I go to bed and the lights go off, those cats are just tearing back and forth. It sounds like horses. They're like, boom, 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 back and forth for about 10 minutes. And then they get tired and go to sleep. But I used to feel bad.
Does it bring you comfort to know that that's probably bothering your downstairs neighbor?
It does. I used to feel bad about it. And then I'm just like, this is just a fucking drop in the bucket. This is not payback of any kind of equal value. So anyway, apartment living.
I look forward to hearing the next iteration. I know you're looking for another place to live, so we only have a little while longer to suffer through this.
Well, I'm sure there'll be other issues. The whole apartment search thing has been another interesting education.
Another catastrophe.
In cultural differences.
All right, Kevin, should we talk about what we're talking about on this podcast?
Yeah, let's do that.
All right. Leading off.
This was unprecedented in my experience. And one had to think the unthinkable. Someone had intentionally harmed these babies.
In 2016, officials at England's Countess of Chester Hospital began an inquest into what was causing a statistically high number of babies in the neonatal unit to die or require resuscitation. They found the cases all had one thing in common. Night nurse Lucy Letby was on duty for all of them.
It couldn't have been anyone else.
Answer the question again to you. Did you administer Inchmere? Because the experts think someone has. You were caring for him.
I didn't.
Do you know who did?
No.
Police accuse Letby of killing the infants in a number of ways, including tampering with oxygen, feeding tubes, and insulin injections. But her lawyers say the outcomes were the result of poor care from the hospital, and the causes of the deaths were medical, not murder.
There were problems related to teamwork and interdisciplinary collaboration at the Countess of Chester neonatal unit. In summary, ladies and gentlemen, we did not find any murders.
The Netflix documentary, The Investigation of Lucy Letby, looks into the largest case of infant homicides in British history. It uses body cam and security footage to show how their probe came together and possible motives for the killings. The film also uses controversial AI technology to change the appearance of some contributors who wanted to remain anonymous. Spoiler alert, we're going to be talking about plot points from The Investigation of Lucy Letby. So if you want to remain spoiler-free, go to the estimated time code in our show notes for our thumbs up or thumbs down reviews. All right, so let's get the elephant in the room out of the way. There are two contributors to this documentary, including Lucy Letby's good friend and the mother of one of the babies who died at this hospital. And they gave interviews to the documentarians, but apparently did not want their real faces or voices or whatever to be seen. So instead of just putting them in an inky dark room like filmmakers often do, or, cover their face or put them in disguise, the filmmakers made an interesting choice, which was basically to superimpose fake AI people on top of these people. What did you think about that, Kevin?
Oh, wow. Well, and I think this is the thing that this documentary will be remembered for, is kind of, maybe we'll say, pioneering this. I mean, maybe somebody else has done it, but we haven't seen it before. So the use of AI to conceal interview subjects. Now, as you say, in general, there's sort of like no issue in hiding a subject's identity in modern journalism. Like you said, right, you use the pixelated face, or you
masks. In that one thing we watched, remember the stupid weird masks?
Okay, that was weird.
Yeah.
But that's not standard. But like shooting somebody in silhouette or just shooting their hands. I remember doing a TV interview, and I believe it was with like a church abuse victim. And that's what we did. We just did a close-up of their hands, right? So it's something to give them a chance to be anonymous. Those weird electronically altered voices, right? So there is an argument that this is at least a more audience-pleasing way than to have, a voice that sounds like that, or somebody in shadow, and probably even maybe more authentic than having actors come out and redo these lines.
We've seen that before too, right?
Yeah, but this one, I don't want to say that's in defense of it, because I'm not really in defense of it, but that's sort of like the pro side for doing this. And I would love to hear if anybody else agrees that there is a pro side, or we can get right to like what's problematic about it.
I want to talk about what's problematic about it.
Okay, come back to me.
I can do both.
All right. Laura,
it's both, yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, I will say, and I have the problematic thing, but I'm like, here's the thing. AI is here to stay. I've been trying to experiment with how to use it in my work. I got sucked into the Christmas card thing when everybody was doing the candy cane things, and made some of that and made myself look like Mariah Carey. So I think, okay, it's here to stay. And I have found certain things that AI is really helpful for, and certain things where you're like I just recently discovered you can take your photo of your living room and say like, redecorate and show me other versions and use my same furniture. And it starts changing my walls around. I'm like, that's not. So AI isn't going to take over the world and take our jobs, but those of us that don't learn how to use AI to do our jobs better are going to lose our jobs to AI.
That's right. That's actually very accurate.
No, I think I'm going to lose my job to AI, but go ahead.
Yeah. So I'm like, okay, they're trying something. But then, yes, I was so fucking distracted by it because I was like, this is fucking, I'm like, look at the lighting. Look at her face. Wow. Her skin is flawless. Look at that hair color. And I couldn't even, I don't even know what that lady said, because those were the thoughts going through my head every time she came on the screen.
Yeah. There were also a couple glitches, a couple of weird little moments in the Matrix, glitches.
There's at no point in which I would have been fooled that was an actual human being.
Why not?
It just looks so AI. I mean, it was just completely I've got a buddy who does better AI videos than that. I mean, it just looked fake.
The doctors were telling us that she was responding very well, that she was responding as expected, and there were no concerns.
The way their expressions were, just the way they moved, just seemed like an approximation of being natural, but not quite there. I thought they were just incredibly kind of creepy and disturbing in a way that I don't know why some editor didn't look at it and be like, you know what, this just isn't going to work. Let's just use the AI to pretend their faces are in shadow and move on, because this is too weird.
I have one more creepy thing about AI. So I was watching CNN over Valentine's weekend, and they had a story about people that were going to a restaurant where they could have dates with AI companions on tablets. And I was like, what? So they had the reporter be like, I'm going to check this out. That AI was even creepier. But what was even more fucked up was there was some, and I shouldn't say this because to each their own, but there was people that were going there regularly who said, we only date AI now. We don't date in the real world. We just like to have a companion during dinner. And
that used to be a book.
Yeah.
It's like Westworld, but not.
Yeah.
Now my thought, guys, is sort of the issue that we have with actors and reenactments is that they're often bad. Right. And that ends up being one of the bigger problems. And when they're done good, then it's merely acceptable in the documentary or in the podcast. Right. I mean, one of the reasons why we thought Manslaughter was so bad was because
Man's laughter
is because, we thought the acting was bad.
And I remember she ignored him.
I said, where are the keys?
Silence.
Sue, I'm asking you a question.
You can go lick yourself for all I care.
But see, the big problem here, I think, with these AI figures is they're almost done well. They're done very well, but not 100%.
They're in the uncanny valley.
Yeah, right. So you're aware of it. It did get slightly worse as it went along. Because, right, there were a couple of little times where they jiggled or whatever, and it looked a little bit like Max Headroom. And so you're like, well, couldn't they have gone back and maybe taken another stab at that particular scene or something like that? So that's just it was distracting. Now, in 10 years when everybody's doing it, would we have the same criticism on episode 1,600 of Crime Writers On? I mean, we might not even think about it. But I think because this is one of the first ones, that really stands out. And like, maybe if it's better, I mean, Toby, you said like, well, I wasn't fooled. I'm wondering if that's the intention or not, right?
Well, they disclose it every time they do it.
Which I think they need to.
Yeah.
But like, is this supposed to be War of the Worlds? Are we supposed to kind of forget that and think it's a real person? Or are we supposed to be there thinking, okay, this is the real person, but this is just a different way of seeing them so that we don't know who they are? Like what are the intentions? What do you think?
Well, I think they wanted to give you as close to the experience of the actual person talking as they could.
Uh-huh.
And that was a very slightly off AI'd version of them. And maybe if this is the kind of thing where like a year from now, if everybody's doing it, you're just like, oh, well, I guess that's just the way it's happening. But at least for me, the first time seeing it, it seemed very off. Because I guess I get the feeling... I don't know. I mean, I feel like in most other things, there's like sort of an artifice to it that you're kind of in on. So, the faces are blacked out. There's a mask. You're looking at hands, whatever. It's a cartoon version of the person, whatever. And in this case, there's a thing there. But like the first time I was watching, I think I was watching on my computer and I didn't see the little thing that said an AI, whatever. And I was like, what the fuck is wrong with this? Like, is this like shot with like a weird light or something?
Yeah.
And then I saw the thing and I was like, oh, this is AI. But it was clear to me that there was something like totally off. So I don't know. I mean, I mean, maybe what you're saying is right, is that it's just like a little bit too close to being real so that you're like perceiving it as being like a real person just talking. But then there's something in your brain that's saying this isn't quite right.
That's the uncanny valley.
It's the skin. So flawless.
Yeah, they all have flawless skin, not a hair out of place,
That's how we all want to be portrayed.
I feel as though we should be AIing our little Instagram things to give idealized versions of ourselves.
I tried to AI myself, and I said, please take out my double chin. And it said, we're sorry, we cannot do that. We can give you a brighter complexion, but we cannot take out features on your face. And I was like,
what?
What the fuck?
You're using the wrong AI.
Yes.
This ChatGPT, I was like, take out this part of my chin, this old lady thing. And it said, we can't do that. And I was like,
yeah.
Fuck you.
Very disappointing.
Give me bigger boobs and blue eyes.
That's
Come
right.
on, they can do that.
Yeah.
I'm talking about me. Give me bigger boobs and blue eyes. Yeah. I do think, though, like, out of the two, the friend... Didn't the friend have pink hair in this or something? Or am I just... Or she had a pink sweater on. That's what it was.
She had very vibrant red hair.
Yeah, that's right. I don't think she was the best candidate to be a pioneer.
Why is that?
Because, we'll say, the AI character had sort of like this little bit of, dazed expression and kind of like after like saying something, just like kind of like letting it sit there for a minute with sort of a little longer shot with her mouth kind of open and the quivers. And like that could be... in real life, that person's authentic reactions.
Yeah.
Because we've seen that. People sort of a little awkward or whatever. But it just ends up looking like her face lends itself too poorly. Not her face, but her affect and her facial expressions end up just sort of like looking like it's bad AI. Whether the AI is bad or not, the AI could be 1,000% on to how she is. But it just sort of seemed... I guess you pick the AI subjects that you get, but it's just, I think for me, I would really like to know, and I guess you probably can't do it with these two people, but I would like to see an example of a real person and how they're rendered to get an idea to be comfortable with it. If you're taking like black people and making them white people, or you're taking people that are very thin and making them overweight or vice versa, or like really distorting as opposed to making them anonymous. Like, I want to know, like, sort of how close this could be to a person. So I'm not...
Don't you think the final shot of the mom walking across the field with the kid was the real woman?
That freaked me out even more.
But the hair wasn't even the same color. I was like, that's the problem. Because the AI version of her had red hair, and then that woman had brown hair. And I was like, that's fucked up.
Can I just say, the fact that we're spending 10 minutes of reviewing this documentary talking about this probably points to the fact that it probably wasn't a good decision.
Right.
Like, it's the thing that sticks out about this documentary at the end is their weird AI stuff. I mean, that's
right.
That in and of itself should have been we should probably try something else, because if we want anybody to think about this documentary in any like deeper way, we're blowing it.
Right. And there's no AI on Patreon.
No?
It's all us. No.
Oh my
Not
God,
artificial
we got all the way to
intelligence.
Patreon?
Business section.
Yeah.
We're
We're
halfway
all
to
the way to the
podcast.
business section. Yes.
It's
Toby's
okay.
like 10 minutes. I'm like, it's 19 minutes into this episode.
We will talk about the case, folks. I promise
shit.
after this break.
That's unbelievable.
Well, that's what we do here. We're not artificial intelligence. We're almost intelligent.
Yes.
And you can figure that all out by getting our content at patreon.com/partnersincrimemedia. You'll get things like the Crime Writers on After Show. On this After Show, Rebecca's going to talk about how she made friends with a whole bunch of judges.
That's right.
She went to a conference in Washington, D.C. and made friends on the bench.
Yes.
And we'll see if that is going to benefit us at any point in the
God
future.
hope so. I had my bribe envelopes and everything.
Nice.
You also can get married with podcast on this advice podcast. It begins with a thank you to Rebecca for predicting that this listener should get divorced years ago.
Yes.
What? And when it happened, there's a thank you to Rebecca.
Yes.
I should have listened to you.
Yes. You
Wow.
should. Folks
Yes.
should listen to me.
Yes. Other content includes Rebecca and Mel's podcast, Something's Off.
Audio
Looks like
version.
The sidebars are out from the
Hell yeah, they are.
from the Karen Reed case. Other interesting things. You also get, if you join us at the Bricker scale level.
Kevin, just pause.
what?
There's a conversation that Judge Bev has with them about how stupid Trooper Paul is, and she agrees. She's like, "Yeah, I don't think that he can take this." Like, it's very funny. It's very funny.
Trooper Paul. If you join us at the Bricker scale level, you get Laura Bricker's Leave It to Bricker podcast. Laura, you talking about what? New Hampshire's next top dog?
I'm going to go behind the scenes with I've got a great interview with the owner of the dog from New Hampshire that won all of the Westminster Kennel Club agility.
Nice.
Fantastic.
Number one. And what did that dog get via DoorDash?
Oh, I'd like to
Nice.
know. I'd
Yes.
like to know.
A
All
hot
right.
dog.
All right. Well, we're just going to have to tune in. If you join us at the Let's Do What We Do level, you get episodes of Crime Writers on early and ad-free. And if you're a deep diver, well, thank you for being an official sponsor of Toby Ball's Deep Dive Book Club podcast. Toby, Alex Segura, and Livy Burdett are going to be talking with you about your next title. What's the book you're discussing?
It's called The Lumumba Plot, The Secret History of the CIA and a Cold War Assassination by Stuart Reed. You know, the subtitle sells it a little short. It's really sort of a biography of Patrice Lumumba in the beginning of an independent Congo. Super interesting. Really looking forward to discussing it.
Now, if you haven't joined us yet on Patreon, hey, why don't you? Because you can sample 3 minutes, the first 3 minutes of all of these episodes for free. You can even try us.
Sometimes the middle 3 minutes, to be
All
fair.
right,
I moved
three.
that little thing around.
Okay, yes, Rebecca's curating. Love it. You can actually sign up for free for 7 days. Go through, try all of it. If you don't like it, that's fine. We'll get you next time. And you can even save 10% on your membership with an annual membership. And the last thing I'll say, this is the advice we give everybody. We love Apple Podcasts, but we would suggest you not get a membership through the Apple iOS. Why?
You mean through the Patreon app on your Apple
Through the
iPhone?
Patreon app
Yeah.
on your iPhone.
Yeah. Because they jack you. That's why.
Yes, because Apple throws on a surcharge to you. Now, that doesn't, we don't get any less, we don't get any more, but you get charged extra because Apple wants to take a bite out of you. So go ahead and do it on your desktop, or you're on your, what's the Google ones? Your Android?
Your Android.
Yeah, that's the way to go, because we're all about saving you money.
Yeah.
And AI didn't tell us to do that.
All right. Kevin, does thus end our business section?
Thus ends the business section.
Let's go ahead and end that music right now.
Get in the game with the college-branded Venmo debit card. Wreck your team with every tap and earn up to 5% cash back with Venmo Stash, a new rewards program from Venmo. No monthly fee, no minimum balance, just school pride and spending power. Get in the game and sign up for the Venmo debit card at venmo.com/collegecard. The Venmo MasterCard is issued by the Bancorp Bank N.A. Select schools available. Venmo stash terms and exclusions apply at venmo.me/stash terms. Max $100 cash back per month.
Kevin?
Yes.
Who are we sponsored by this time?
We're sponsored by Quince.
Oh, my favorite.
Quince is all about elevated essentials that feel effortless, designed for layering and mixing. Each piece helps build a timeless wardrobe made to last. Rebecca, have you ever purchased anything from Quince?
Well, Kevin.
All right, hold on. Let's just set the scene. I actually have here a bag. Says Quince on the outside. This is your latest purchase. Let's do an unbagging.
It was just delivered today.
Mm-hmm.
And you made me wait.
I know.
All right, let's see what I got here.
Let's show me. Now, you know what this is. I don't.
Okay.
Oh, that's a nice sweater.
It is a Luxe baby cashmere cardigan, cable knit.
Oh, this feels nice. Cable knit. What's the color?
I think this is the oatmeal. It's a very icy. It's so beautiful. This was one of my aspirational sweaters, and then I saw it at Quince, and I was like, oh my God.
And you got it.
I did.
Yeah, okay. So Rebecca's single-handedly keeping everybody at Quince employed.
Thanks.
And you can help them too by refreshing your wardrobe with Quince. Go to quince.com/crime for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. Now available in Canada too.
Yay!
That's QUINCE.com/crime. Free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/crime.
Cashmere. Crime.
Well, the holidays have come and gone once again, but if you've forgotten to get that special someone in your life a gift, well, Mint Mobile is extending their holiday offer of half off unlimited wireless. So here's the idea. You get it now, you call it an early present for next year. What do you have to lose? Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Limited time 50% off regular price for new customers. Upfront payment required. $45 for 3 months, $90 for 6 months, or $180 for 12-month plan. Taxes and fees extra. Speeds may slow after 50 gigabytes per month when network is busy. See terms.
So, Laura, Lucy Letby's quite the cat person, huh?
Yeah. So I'm a cat person.
We know.
And I was like, okay, the attachment to her cats is a little bit unnatural even by cat lady standards.
Really?
I'm just saying, like, and that's come from me who's like, my cats are like, you know, I have full-on conversations with them. They're very spoiled, all that stuff. But I was like, the fact that she has to hug the cat for this prolonged period of time, every time the police come and take her away.
Please, can you see my cat? Stay here for a sec. Look.
And then at one point, I think she was on one of the jail calls talking about the cat and how the cat didn't know where she was. And I was like, okay, this is my first red flag where I want somebody to do a psych analysis of her because something's up.
Yeah.
Wow. That's like Elon Musk calling somebody else awkward.
Yes.
Yeah, no, it is.
So, Toby, my strong feeling about this documentary is that at the very beginning, we see people on social media and Man on the Street interviews, people saying that she didn't do it, right? And then typical documentary format, we've seen this before, where the first part of it lays out the case why people think she did do it, and then it gets into the why she maybe didn't do it. I thought the documentary did not do an adequate job explaining why so many people think she didn't do it. I have actually done some more research on this case afterwards, and I found out more stuff other than just the statistics not being, the statistics of that chart they made of when she's on shift not being right, of them changing the purpose of the unit, of them misinterpreting that report. But like, because the documentary made her just seem like a weirdo who doesn't remember any of the babies that she cared for, and then didn't really lay out a case for the other side of it at all, when apparently a lot of people believe she didn't do it. Toby, do you think that this is a balanced documentary in that way?
Yeah, so I think you have to go outside the documentary to get a sense of that. And this is one of the few cases where I actually kind of knew a little bit about it just from reading the Guardian newspaper. And then in the New Yorker, there was this article.
Of course.
Which I think really...
Drink.
Drink.
Wait, Toby read something in the New Yorker.
Yeah, it's weird. I know, it's weird.
Drink.
But I think a lot of the she's innocent stuff like originated in that article, which gives a lot more detail about the conditions at that hospital where she was working, and then a lot more detail about the actual cases of these kids, some of whom she had these very, very fleeting interactions with and was basically brought in because other people didn't know how to deal with it. Like, she was kind of considered to be the most competent of the nurses for these kids in very, very dire situations. These aren't the things with like a normal healthy baby is there and she walks in and then she leaves and suddenly the baby's in critical condition. She was dealing with these kids who are in very, very difficult straits. They talk about errors that doctors made in trying to intubate them and getting it wrong. And the nurses there were overworked. I think some of the evidence that was used against her in this documentary was again impeached in the New Yorker article. The stuff about the insulin is really not established at all. As a matter of fact, it seems from the article more likely that it was a testing error than anything else, because these other things that you would also expect to see if somebody had been given insulin weren't present in tests. So there was just all these things that add up to make it seem more understandable that she could be innocent. Whereas in this, it makes this very strong case for her being guilty. And it's like, oh, but by the way, you shouldn't really trust this one guy and a couple of other things. They misread my
report.
Right. But it's not, I kind of felt like the finger was on the scale a little bit, or
totally.
They just weren't really that interested in doing the sort of detail-oriented stuff that is necessary to kind of establish a reason why these things could have happened without her being guilty of murdering all these babies.
Now, Kevin, I'm looking at your notes, and it appears that you were swayed by the documentary that she's likely guilty.
Well, I was, because I watched the documentary and I didn't read anything else. And as far as Toby conveys that article, it, seems to make some strong points that I wish were in it. I still have a hard time with the statistics, right? That a place where, it's a neonatal intensive care unit. My dad worked for many years in a neonatal intensive care unit. Those babies are very, very sick. They're not there unless they are super critical. But as far as a statistical spike like that, and the commonality is one person who happens to have written a lot of stuff about I'm guilty, I did it, and all this other shit.
There's context to that.
That's hard for me to walk away. Is there?
Yes. The context to that is that her therapist, when this was going on, asked her to write down her darkest thoughts.
Right.
And she did. She did the therapy assignment.
Okay, so if one could prove that for example, the insulin evidence is a false positive, it's very hard to walk away from saying that, at least in those two cases, there wasn't a human being that interfered there. I'm just, I guess I'm saying that I understand circumstantial evidence, but that's still evidence. I just don't see how that's, I'm not kidding. I tell you, I'm not convinced that these are all, medical deaths or
I'm just
how have you
say,
said.
I don't know. And the documentary didn't help. The only reason I looked more into it was because I saw so much debate online about her potential innocence. And the documentary didn't show me anything that would make me debate on that front, like anything strong. So I looked into it, and the notes in her journal were 100% taken. It was sort of like the Adnan, I'm going to kill note, like some doodle that he had on his notebook being shown as evidence that he committed a murder, right? And then the other thing that was interesting to me was... speaking of Laura's cat affect thing, which you also pointed out in your notes, I don't think she comes across as a conventional person. I think she comes across as a little bit of an odd duck. Mm-hmm. And I think some maybe work habits she had around that. I think apparently she was an excellent nurse. So they make the point at one point that maybe she was put on duty because she was the most skilled nurse with these sickest kids. But then also, bringing the sheets home, doing all that stuff. Those are kind of behaviors of like an obsessive in a way, which aren't necessarily behaviors of a murderer. Laura, what did you think? Did you have conflict too after you watched this?
Yeah, I wish they had told it more from the perspective, because you can look up anything on this case. It's been out there. There's been other documentaries. Now, it wasn't something I was going to watch because watching about baby deaths isn't at the top of my list. But I wish they had come in from a perspective of, hey, there's some questions about this case, because when you hear baby death case, it's like when you hear hot dog and car case, you immediately have a bias against that because it's something that's very upsetting to society. So like you, Rebecca, I went online afterwards because I was like, okay, the first half of this, more than half of it, like the first 2/3 is really about her being guilty. And you're like, something seems off about her. I can't really figure out. She seems kind of flat in her demeanor. She doesn't seem to have much of a personality. And, I thought it was just going to be like a recounting of this case. And then at the end, they're like, P.S., here's these people who think she didn't do it. And I'm like, okay, that to me is something that would have been more kind of a food for thought analysis and approach that would have made this more interesting from the beginning, because they tease it and then they don't return to it. And they tease it with people that don't really seem more like social media influencers than people who would actually know some details about why she might not be guilty in this case. Yeah. So I think some other explanations of what could have happened, because it was also like, oh, she went in and she injected air into the line. And I'm like,
but she didn't inject air into the line. I mean, that's the whole thing.
Trying to say she's like the serial killer of babies. I'm like, she doesn't really seem to meet the criteria for being a serial killer. It doesn't fit. Like something doesn't fit here.
She's not doing the hero thing where she's there to, quote, save them like we've heard with other, angel of death cases.
It didn't match. It didn't fit. And afterwards, I was like, okay, let me go see what else I can find about this case because I'm curious, did her lawyers not do a good job? I wanted more information about the other alternative to she just killed all these babies for no apparent reason and wrote in her journal that she did it and loves cats.
Yeah. So, Toby, there's a lot of affect evidence here that was used against her. The fact that she didn't remember individual babies, right? The fact that she brought the nursing sheets home and didn't give a cogent explanation for it. Her general sense of being distant seemed to really work against her. Do you, Toby, find yourself on the fence? When you see that, all that stuff together, or do you see it as a sexy case that seemed to be falling together? They just decided to pursue it this way rather than look at the systemic issue. I mean, do you have an opinion on this?
I mean, I think the frustrating thing is in a thing like this, just looking at some statistics and stuff, that's fine. That can help guide you with things. But I mean, you're looking at specific deaths of specific babies, right? And so you have to take a look at what happened in those situations. And there's almost none of that in this documentary. They have that one woman and they talk about what happened with her kids. Again, it's out there, a lot more details about what happened with some of these kids, what Lucy Letby's involvement in the kids' decline was. Even if they did get insulin, the insulin was administered long after she had left the hospital. She could only have put it into a bag in the hopes that somebody else would have attached it to the thing. So there's all these details that are just sort of ignored with this idea when we took her off the ward, suddenly everything went back. It's but they also changed what kind of babies were on the ward when they took her off the ward. They changed the purpose. So that's not really fair to say that. There's a hell of a lot of anecdotes of people in this hospital being incompetent, being unable to do specific things for babies. And they were go get Lucy because she knows how to do it. She shows up to a kid who's already in distress. And it's oh, well, she was attending when this kid died. So again, it doesn't mean that she's necessarily innocent, but that to me seems like a more honest way of looking at things rather than looking at some statistics. If we're still looking at affect stuff at this point, that just feels like very 2005 or something.
Yeah.
I mean,
we don't think she's a murderer because she's too attached to her cats, to be clear.
No, but even the way she's responding, when she's being grilled by the cops, and she's just no.
Yeah.
And the cops well, she had to stop and think. It's well, what the fuck? Is that wrong? You're being grilled by the cops. You're not supposed to think about what your answer is going to be when you've been accused of killing all these babies. So I don't know. I just I felt it was frustrating. I felt if I hadn't known anything about the case, maybe I just would have been oh yeah, I mean, I guess they found this guilty woman and they're trying to make a documentary, so they had to present this other side. But in fact, people who have looked at it more carefully and in more detail have come to a different conclusion based on a deeper look into things.
Yeah.
And it's out there. So I don't know why, I guess they're well, we've got an hour and a half. We got to put this stuff in. But this is if you actually want to do a good job with this case, I mean, it's very, very complicated. And there's a lot of separate cases that go into it. And it needs to be a series, or you need to somehow acknowledge that this is sort of a superficial look at a very complicated situation.
I really like the lumberjack scientist guy whose report was misused. I like that guy. He was always in plaid shirts. I love that. So Kevin, I know that we have consumed media about angels of death cases where there have been compelling statistics that they should have known it was that guy or whatever. And there's always generally a pathology around the person who's doing it. And then I also know that there are cases where people die in hospitals just because people die in hospitals. Why do you think these are so hard to parse out into one direction to be conservative and the other direction to be aggressive?
Are you talking about in the framework of this documentary? We're talking about even in real life?
Hospital misconduct.
Hospital crimes are very hard to prosecute because there's usually not a lot of hard evidence. I think about drug diversion cases. These investigators are usually relying upon a confession. That ends up usually being what they get to either get a conviction or a plea bargain or something like that, because it's very hard. And I think that's kind of like what they're having here. That I think just by the context clues of different things that they're wearing, it looks like they interviewed her, at least 3 times. And certainly they were trying to get a confession. I mean, which is, what you do in any investigation. So they did, try to get her confession here, but really didn't get anywhere. Does that mean that she's innocent, or does it just mean that she doesn't talk about it? I mean,
no comment.
Yes.
That's what you can say.
That's what you can say.
That's what you can say, yeah. And you're not supposed to, draw an inference from that.
That's right.
But as far as the other evidence that was presented,
you may not choose to reveal something that could be later relied on in court.
But they said a new one in this one, though. They said, if you're innocent, tell us, and we'll find the evidence to prove it. And I was like, that's a new thing that I haven't said in all
that's
the shows
cool. I like that.
Oh, okay.
That's awesome.
That was in there, and I was like, can you imagine if they said that
Susan
here?
did it. Yeah. If you're innocent, tell us.
That's what they said. I was like,
go find the evidence.
Yeah.
Go find the evidence that John died in the house, please.
It's kind of saying if we find exculpatory evidence, we'll let you know.
Exactly.
Yeah. So anyway,
actually they do have to do that in England.
They do, but
There's
now they're
the whole time.
specifically. They're saying they have to do that here too, but they're specifically saying that.
No, but the cops have to do it there. It's not just at trial. Like they have to. The cops have to listen. I'm a pro in this topic because I have read every fucking British.
We're getting all our information from other than this documentary.
Fiction, largely.
Well, that's the problem with the documentary.
But the cops do have to in England. Just whenever they get any evidence, they have to disclose it as they go.
Yeah,
it's a whole different situation over there. I mean, I don't know if that's always true, but in the books I've read, that's the case. Same with Laura.
So I'll just say that it's very hard to get a conviction on a hospital misconduct violence case without a confession, but they got one here.
Right. So Kevin leans toward she doing it. Toby doesn't know. I don't know. Laura, what is your take?
I'm going to say I don't know, so I'm going to lean towards her not doing it because I just felt like there's more to this story, and I don't feel like I got a good sense of the other side, but I think I got a sense that there's enough out there that something doesn't add up here.
Yeah.
Hey, everybody. Ted Danson here to tell you about my podcast with my longtime friend and sometimes co-host Woody Harrelson. It's called Where Everybody Knows Your Name, and we're back for another season. I'm so excited to be joined this season by friends like John Mulaney, David Spade, Sarah Silverman, Ed Helms, and many more. You don't want to miss it. Listen to Where Everybody Knows Your Name with me, Ted Danson, and Woody Harrelson sometimes, wherever you get your podcasts.
You know that thing where you get an amazing pair of shoes at a really great price and want to tell everyone about it? Yeah, so do we. Here at Designer Shoe Warehouse, we'll give you something to brag about, like the latest styles from brands you love, or the trends everyone's obsessing over, or shoes that make you feel like, well, you. So go ahead, show off a little. Find shoes that get you at prices that get your budget. Head to your DSW store or DSW.com today. DSW, let us surprise you.
Imagine relying on a dozen different software programs to run your business, none of which are connected, and each one more expensive and more complicated than the last. It can be pretty stressful. Now imagine Odoo. Odoo has all the programs you'll ever need, and they're all connected on one platform. Doesn't Odoo sound amazing? Let Odoo harmonize your business with simple, efficient software that can handle everything for a fraction of the price. Sign up today at odoo.com. That's ODOO.com.
A BetterHelp ad. February is full of flowers and lots of relationship talk. But whether you're single, married, or dating, just remember, you're right on time. Sometimes it feels like everyone has it all together in their love lives. But the truth is, we're all still figuring it out. Therapy can help. Get some outside perspective from a professional that can lead to new understanding and a lot less pressure on yourself. And remember, you're right on time. Visit BetterHelp.com for 10% off.
All right, let's do what we do. Let's let our listeners know, should they check out the Netflix documentary, The Investigation of Lucy Letby. Laura Bricker, thumbs up or thumbs down for this doc?
Oh, boy. I'm going thumbs down. I was going to go mild thumbs down, but I think I'm going full-on thumbs down. There's a lot, and I know we spent literally the first half of this review talking about the use of AI to make people look like people that were not people, that were AI people. And that was so distracting to me that I don't even know what those AI people, not people said, that combined with, I really wish this had been more of a balanced presentation of this case in a way that left me or the other viewers with like some food for thought of, did it happen this way or did it happen that way? And we have information on both sides instead of such heavy information on one side of this case. I think anytime you have like a baby death case like this, it's hard to not jump to conclusions because it's such an emotional type of case and type of situation. But I think there was a way that they could have made this more balanced in the way this was presented to show other alternatives. And so it's a thumbs down for me.
Toby Ball, thumbs up or thumbs down for the investigation of Lucy Letby?
The first thing I'll say is it's probably worth it just to log in and just fast forward to the first use of the AI stuff just to get a glimpse of our future because it's weird. Other than that, I'm a thumbs down. I mean, there's just so much information that's out there about this case, and this just kind of skims across the surface, but at the same time, not in a way that seems very judicious or very even-handed. I think there's very little, if any, conversation about the actual hospital itself where all this happened, which, a lot of people who think Letby is innocent really point to the conditions at the hospital as being one of the main reasons why all this stuff happened. That's, if it's mentioned, it goes by quick. It just feels like a really superficial dive into this. And if you don't know anything about the case, 80% of people will probably come away thinking that she's guilty. And it's a much more complicated situation than that. And, if somebody was going to make a good series about it, which really looks seriously at the details of what went on, and instead of looking at statistics, looked at actual cases, I think that would be pretty interesting because I think it is an interesting case, but this was not it. And so I'm a thumbs down.
Kevin Flynn.
I'm a mild thumbs down here. I mean, it's largely a standard true crime documentary that it's like a look back at a recent case. So you have commentary from cops and victims and, people who knew the suspect. But there are some never before seen elements to it, which is a lot of this body cam and security footage. And that's sort of what they built their documentary around. And you're right, this is a case that isn't widely known outside the UK. So I think while there may already be some hardened opinions in other corners, usually for this US audience, they'll be coming at this fresh. I don't know what to say about the research that you guys have done or the things that you've heard about her case here and her possible culpability. I don't feel like there's a lot of there on her innocence. And maybe you could say it's because they didn't present a lot of that. Sure, you could absolutely say that. I mean, a lot of people will say in any of these that when you look at the criminal, they will say, you didn't advocate strong enough for my point or their point of view. And that's pretty common too. But regardless of whether or not I think that she did it, let's talk about this documentary. I never thought I'd see a true crime documentary where they're talking to a bunch of Instagram filtered people. I'm just waiting for the cat to show up next and talk about the crime. It's just...
I'm not a cat.
But I am ready to proceed. That's the thing that we'll remember. We won't be debating very strongly whether or not Lucy Letby killed these babies or not. We're going to be like, what the actual fuck with the anime people that they interviewed? In a couple of years, are we all going to be comfortable with AI doing this stuff? I don't know.
Probably.
We're probably going to be forced to accept it anyway. It's a really strange, groundbreaking technique in documentary storytelling. And I don't know if it was perfectly done here. It's a little jarring. And so that is the thing where I'm going to take away from it. So even though the rest of it was fine, I'm still mild thumbs down.
I'm a thumbs down too. It's conventional and it's fine. And if she did it, it's a okay documentary. I just don't know. And I don't think it's knowable with the facts that are in evidence. And folks might disagree with me, but the big flaw of it is they start with sound bites of people saying she didn't do it and then spend the next 2/3 of the documentary showing us that she did. And then making a very weak tea case of why people think she didn't, which isn't really supported by the public enthusiasm for her innocence. It all just doesn't make any sense. I didn't know anything about the case when I watched it, and I ended up being very confused at the end. And that doesn't even discuss the AI part, which is so deeply weird. I do give them credit for disclosing it every single time so that There's no way a viewer could watch this and think they were being tricked because it literally says it over and over and over again.
Virtually every time.
But it's just opening a can of worms for the next documentary to be all AI people, and then there'd be something buried in the credits about this being all AI people, right? This is just like, remember the first time we saw people doing their own recreations in Cocaine Island, and that felt so like fresh and new, and now you see it all the fucking time, and it's just gotten really stupid. Like, that's how I felt about this. I'm like, this would be really cool if it had been done better and maybe in a different context or something. I don't know. But like, it's a fresh approach. That being said, again, it lived strongly in that uncanny valley and was extremely distracting. And also, I left the thing being totally confounded and more confused. So yeah, thumbs down for me for the investigation of Lucy Letby. Now it's time for my favorite part of the podcast, a little something I like to call the Crime of the Week. The landlord for a Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers restaurant in Boston is trying to kick out his tenant. He says the restaurant is making the whole building smell like chicken fingers. The restaurant is on the street level of a 100-year-old building on a busy urban street in Back Bay. The new tenants in the second floor office space complained about an offensive odor, so the property owner is now trying to evict them. Raising Cane's has filed a lawsuit to stop the eviction. They say they've already spent $200,000 on systems to mitigate odors. Their suit says, quote, despite these efforts, defendant continues to complain that its tenant's chicken finger restaurant smells like chicken fingers. The lawsuit hints at what might be the actual motivation for the planned eviction. Raising Cane's has a lease through 2037, which grants it the right to be, and again I'm quoting, the exclusive chicken restaurant for the building. It says the landlord had been negotiating with Panda Express to take over the space previously occupied by a Starbucks. And if the upstairs tenants didn't like the smell of chicken fingers, wait until they get a whiff of the honey walnut shrimp.
Ooh.
So panel, chicken smell would seem a foreseeable consequence of renting to a chicken restaurant. What else is this landlord going to complain about? Laura Bricker.
Well, based on how popular that restaurant is amongst my son and all of his teenage friends, next up, teenage loitering, skateboarders, kids with loud cars coming in and out at all hours. I mean, the possibilities are endless.
What about you, Toby Ball? What is the next thing this landlord is going to complain about after being bothered by the chicken smell coming out of a chicken restaurant?
First thing I want to say is when I walk to Paddle, which is like a mile away from where I live, right across the street from there is this place called Ceylon, which is a spice warehouse. And so when the wind's blowing in the right direction, you get the most amazing smells as you're going to play paddle. And today it was, I don't even know what it was. It smelled like some kind of tea or something. It was awesome. What else are they going to complain about?
Yes.
If I was, I would say freaking little dogs yapping in the floor below him.
Yeah.
What do you think, Kevin?
No rocks in the chicken nuggets.
Oh.
What's with that?
I think, like, do you think, like, if a Michael's Crafts opened downstairs, they'd complain about glitter on the stairs?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what the fuck do they expect, right? All right, that's going to do it for us. Laura Bricker, if folks want to say hi to you on social media, how can they find you there?
You can find me at Laura Bricker on Instagram and Blue Sky. And you can see some of my fun Olympic tryout videos if you go on Instagram.
I've been checking you out. Toby Ball, what about you? How can you be found online?
At TobyBall603 on Instagram and at TobyBallNH on Blue Sky.
What about you, Kevin?
I'm at Kevin P. Flynn.
You can follow me everywhere at Reb Lavoie, and you can follow the show everywhere at Crime Writers On. But mostly, I encourage you to join our amazing Facebook group. Just go to Facebook, find our page. There's a link there to join the group. Get everything we make on Patreon at patreon.com/partnersincrimemedia. Also, go to the Crime Writers On website to sign up for our free newsletter. Our theme song was composed and performed by Ty Gibbons, and our editor is the terrific Livy Burdett. The EP of this show is Kevin. This show was recorded in the Caitlin Rogers Project Studio, also known as Studio C, the closet in our New Hampshire basement, where we also have unnatural-looking faces and robotic expressions.
Mm-hmm.
On behalf of all the crime writers, thanks so much for listening. We will catch you later.
Are we going to get documentaries like Abe Lincoln, like talking about going to the Civil War, like Billy the Kid, like drinking a shot of whiskey, talking about his times out there, shooting people up?
Yes.
You have to be on Instagram to see some of these history apps. Where
the History Channel is going to be all that in the future. It's going to be ancient aliens and that. and the Abe Lincoln talk show.
So
well,
depressing.
That would certainly make that last Ken Burns documentary a little more interesting.
Yes.
The one that was just
Sponsored
all like
by
random
Top Hats.
documentary, just random things.
Yeah.
With no people.
Partners in Crime Media.
Hey everybody, Ted Danson here to tell you about my podcast with my longtime friend and sometimes co-host Woody Harrelson. It's called Where Everybody Knows Your Name, and we're back for another season. I'm so excited to be joined this season by friends like John Mulaney, David Spade, Sarah Silverman, Ed Helms, and many more. You don't want to miss it. Listen to Where Everybody Knows Your Name with me, Ted Danson, and Woody Harrelson sometimes, wherever you get your podcasts.
Imagine relying on a dozen different software programs to run your business, none of which are connected, and each one more expensive and more complicated than the last. It can be pretty stressful. Now imagine Odoo. Odoo has all the programs you'll ever need, and they're all connected on one platform. Doesn't Odoo sound amazing? Let Odoo harmonize your business with simple, efficient software that can handle everything for a fraction of the price. Sign up today at odoo.com. That's ODOO.com.